corruption remains one of the most significant challenges impacting governance, economic development, and social justice globally, and particularly in Africa. This video therefore explores the latest CPI corruption rankings in relation to African nations, according to the 2024 Corruption Perceptions Index report, highlighting the top-performing countries in the continent. We'll also list some of the nations that still needs to do more work in combating corruption. If you would like to read the full report, check out the link in the description section below. And don't forget to subscribe to this channel and hit the like button, and let's unpack some of the key highlights mentioned in the report in relation to corruption perceptions in Africa. But before we get into the actual report, if you would like to understand more on the Corruption Perceptions Index and how Transparency International calculates it, including the key highlights mentioned in the 2024 report, please watch these videos. We'll include the links to the videos in the description section below. We'll also pin the links in the comments section. But in short, the Corruption Perceptions Index is a recognized global indicator of public sector corruption. The index ranks approximately 180 countries and territories based on how corrupt their public sectors are perceived to be by experts and the business sector. The CPI score is derived from a combination of at least 3 data sources, which are drawn from 13 different corruption surveys and assessments. These data sources are collected by reputable institutions, such as the World Bank and the World Economic Forum. The surveys and assessments used include questions about the frequency and extent of bribery, the strength of anti-corruption measures, and the overall perception of corruption in the public sector. The CPI score ranges from 0 to 100, where 0 indicates a perception of a highly corrupt public sector within the country, while a score of 100, or closer to 100, indicates a perception of a very clean public sector, with minimum levels of corruption. Despite the challenges, several African nations have made notable strides in combating corruption. Now let's get into the top-performing African countries, according to the 2024 Corruption Perceptions Index report. Seychelles leads Africa with anti-corruption efforts, with strong institutional frameworks and a commitment to transparency, setting a benchmark for good governance on the continent. While the steady progress noticed in Cabo Verde reflects effective anti-corruption measures and political stability, Botswana, on the other hand, is often cited as a model for anti-corruption efforts in Africa, with a robust legal framework and active civil society engagement. Rwanda's government has also implemented stringent policies to curb corruption, emphasizing accountability and efficiency. Mauritius makes up the top 5 of African countries that perform well in the Corruption Perceptions Index, and boasts strong democratic institutions and a vibrant economy underpinned by transparent governance. Namibia's Anti-Corruption Commission and its legal reforms are worth mentioning. These measures which contribute to its relatively high standing in the Corruption Perceptions Index. Let's now discuss some of the other key highlights in terms of African countries, according to the 2024 Corruption Perceptions Index report. Countries like Benin, Côte d'Ivoire, São Tomé and Príncipe, as well as Senegal, all scored 45, ranking 69th globally. These nations show moderate progress, but highlight the need for continued efforts to strengthen anti-corruption initiatives. Burkina Faso, South Africa, including Tanzania, each scored 41, sharing the 82nd position. Their rankings suggest varying degrees of success in addressing corruption, with some room for improvement. Nations such as Nigeria, Uganda, Cameroon, and Madagascar each scored 26 on the 2024 Corruption Perceptions Index and were ranked 140th globally. Persistent challenges in these countries include weak institutions, lack of transparency, as well as limited enforcement of anti-corruption laws. Some of the African countries performing poorly on the Corruption Perceptions Index world rankings include nations such as the Democratic Republic of the Congo, which scored 20 and placed 163rd, and Sudan, which scored 15 and ranks 170th. as well as Somalia, which scored 9 and placed 179th on the world rankings. In some of these countries, the low scores may be a reflection of ongoing conflicts, political instability, as well as systemic governance issues that exacerbate corruption. Corruption in Africa may be largely attributed to some of the following factors. Let's discuss each of these. Just a reminder to please show your support by clicking on the like button of this video. And remember to subscribe to our channel for more content. One of the possible reasons for corruption is that many African countries may struggle with fragile institutions that lack the capacity or independence to enforce anti-corruption measures effectively. This includes the implementation of weak regulations. Prolonged conflicts and political turmoil in some African nations may also erode governance structures, making it difficult to combat corrupt practices. Limited access to information in some African countries, as well as inadequate oversight mechanisms, may also allow corruption to flourish and unchecked. There are also high levels of poverty and unemployment on the continent, and this may drive individuals toward corrupt activities as a means of survival. In some contexts, patronage systems and gift-giving are culturally ingrained, blurring the lines between acceptable behavior and corruption. This also opens the door for unscrupulous characters to solicit bribes and other favors, in exchange of doing business, or for personal gain. In conclusion, the latest CPI report highlight both the progress as well as ongoing challenges in combating corruption across Africa. While top-performing countries like the Seychelles, Cabo Verde, Botswana, and Rwanda serve as encouraging examples, the overall picture underscores the need for sustained efforts. Corruption is not an insurmountable challenge. With determination, transparency, and collective effort, Africa can turn the tide against corruption and unlock its full potential. Governments must therefore demonstrate a political will and a commitment to enforce anti-corruption measures. Civil society should also remain vigilant, advocating for transparency and holding leaders accountable. The international community, on the other hand, must support African nations through cooperation, resources, and the sharing of best practices. Through anti-corruption measures and strategies, African countries can make significant strides toward eradicating corruption. This will not only improve governance and economic development, but also enhance the quality of life for all citizens, paving the way for a more just and prosperous continent. So, what are your views on corruption levels in your country? Share your views by leaving us a comment below, and let's discuss this pervasive issue of corruption. And remember, you can read the full report by following the link in the description below. And don't forget to subscribe to this channel and hit the like button. For more on the Corruption Index, as well as on public sector corruption, please check out these other videos under our channel. Also remember to like and share this video to show your support. And subscribe to our channel for more content.